Hello, students. Alex again in this supplementary video. I wanted to make this because of the shortened week as an extra instructional video to help you write your point form essay outline. So today, you can watch this video as many times as you like to assist you in this first step. Today, we're going to focus on how to prepare a strong point form essay outline in relation to the sources that I've given you for use. So first, remember, you're not writing the full essay yet. You're creating a plan for the essay. A good outline is like a map. It helps you organize your thinking before you begin drafting. It should show your topic, your thesis, your main body points, the evidence you plan to use, and the logical order of those ideas. It should use short phrases and notes, not full paragraphs. Remember that, everybody. The essay question we're working with is connected to this larger issue of should students use generative AI tools when learning to write? Now, that question is important because it's not asking for a simple yes or no answer. It's asking you to think critically. So the question is, does AI help students? Does it harm learning? Can it be used in some parts of the writing process but harmful in others? Your job is to take a position that is clear but also thoughtful. A weak response to this question might be something like AI is good and bad for students. That's not strong enough. And that's not enough because it's too general. It doesn't tell the reader what you really will argue. A strong thesis instead would be something like students can use generative AI as a support tool in writing courses, but they should not rely on it to replace their own thinking because writing skills develops through effort, personal voice, and critical responsibility. This is just my own example of a strong thesis. And now this thesis is stronger because it takes a position, allows for some complexity, and previews three body points. Three sources we're going to start. So the first step is to understand the three sources. That's the first step that you have to commit to produce the outline and your ideas, to plan your essay. You're required to use all three of the sources that I've given you inside of the resources folder. Each article gives you a different way to think about AI in writing. The first article from Time magazine reports on a 2025 MIT Media Lab study that compares essay writing with ChatGPT, Google Search, and no digital tools. The main idea is that heavy reliance on ChatGPT may reduce engagement, originality, and memory during writing, although the study is still preliminary. Now, this article is useful because, well, if you want to discuss brain engagement, originality, memory, or the risk that students may become less active thinkers when using AI, it can help you a lot. The second article from the Academica forum is more reflective. It focuses on AI in the writing classroom and raises concerns about bias, inaccuracy, academic integrity, environmental impact, labor conditions, accountability, creativity, and students' relationship with language. The article is useful if you want to discuss student voice, creativity, ethical responsibility, or whether AI changes what writing means. It's a good article for that. The third article from The Conversation, a place we know well, comes from cognitive psychology. It argues that learning often happens when work is difficult. In other words, struggle is not always a problem in learning. Sometimes struggle is the exact thing that helps us learn. This article is useful if you want to discuss effort, memory, and skill building, or the idea that AI can become a brain drain if it removes too much mental work from the student. Now, one of the biggest challenges in this assignment is connecting the sources to the essay question. Remember, this is the essay question here. So do not treat the articles as three separate summaries. Your outline should not simply say, paragraph 1 is about the Time article, paragraph 2 is about the academic article, and paragraph 3 is about the conversation article. That creates a report, not an argument. Instead, you start with your main idea, okay? And then you choose evidence from the sources that help support that idea. For example, if your first body paragraph is about learning through effort, then the conversation will probably be your main source because it explains that learning depends on effortful thinking and struggle. But you could also connect that idea to the Time article because the MIT study suggests that ChatGPT users showed lower engagement than students using other methods. If your second body paragraph is about personal voice and creativity, then Academica Forum will likely be useful because it discusses writing as a process involving uncertainty, creativity, storytelling, drafting, and revision. This can help you argue that writing is not just about producing correct sentences. It's also about discovering what you think and learning how to express it in your own voice. If your third body paragraph is about critical responsibility, you might use both the Academica article and the Time article. Academica raises concerns about bias, inaccurate information, and accountability. The Time article adds concern about originality and engagement. Together, these sources can help you argue that students should not passively accept AI-generated text. They need to evaluate, revise, fact check, and take responsibility for anything they submit. So, here's a useful way to think about your essay. Your thesis should answer the essay question. Once again, okay? Your body paragraphs should each prove one part of your thesis. Your sources should support those body paragraphs. So your order should feel logical. For example, you might organize your outline this way. First, discussing learning and effort. This is a strong starting point because writing courses are about learning, not just finishing assignments. You could use the conversation to show that difficult thinking helps students build memory and understanding. Then you could explain that if AI does too much of the thinking, students may miss the practice they need. Second, discuss voice and creativity, perhaps. These are just my thoughts to get you going. After explaining how students learn, you can explain what kind of writing they are learning to produce. Here, you might use Academica Forum, the reflective article, to discuss the blinking cursor and the uncertainty that comes with writing. That uncomfortable beginning can actually be productive because students discover their own ideas through drafting and revision. Okay? Remember that, guys. Third, discuss responsible AI use. This is a good one. This is one that most students probably gravitate to. This is a good final body paragraph because it moves from learning to writing to ethics. Here, you might use Academica Forum for concerns about bias and accountability, maybe Time for the MIT study's concerns about lower brain engagement, and similar essays from ChatGPT users. This paragraph can argue that AI should not be used as a shortcut, but if it is used, students must remain active, critical writers. So, notice that this structure is not just 3 random points. It has a logical movement to it. Learning issue, writing issue, ethical issue. That is one of the organizational patterns suggested in your assignment instructions, okay, if you look at them closely. You could also organize by benefits first and then problems, cause and effect, or the strongest point last. It is your choice. The key is that the order should make sense to the reader. Okay? Now let's talk about exactly what a point form essay outline should look like. So your introduction should include 3 parts: a hook or an opening idea, background information to provide context, and your thesis. In point form, it might look something like this, okay? And that's enough for an outline. It really is, everybody. You don't need to write a full introduction paragraph yet. In fact, leave that for later. It's best to think about these things a little more. The outline is meant to be there just from the beginning to help plan your essay once again. And then for each body paragraph, you should include 5 parts. And we've talked about this in class. Your main point, your evidence, the citation, the explanation, and a link to the thesis, how it supports that major position that you have. And your document gives this structure clearly. Topic sentence or main point, evidence, explanation, and link back to the thesis. And it's a good outline here because each point is short, specific, and connected to the thesis. Okay? And we have body paragraph 2 here. Once again, including 5 parts. Okay? Your main point or your topic sentence, the evidence, the explanation, and the link to the thesis. And I'll show you the third body paragraph as well. Okay, this is the paragraph related to the main point of responsibility. Once again, guys, we see main point, topic sentence, or the ideas that will go in the topic sentence, the evidence you'll use, making notes on it, and the explanation and the link. Okay, so finally, your conclusion, the plan for the conclusion anyway, should not introduce a new argument. Okay, it should restate the thesis, summarize the main points, and offer a final thought. In point form, it might look something like this. We're going to talk about conclusions a little bit next week, okay, and specifically how to write them a little bit more. All right, so to wrap up, everyone, before you finish your outline, just check on 3 things. First, is your thesis clear and arguable? Okay, arguable. If your thesis is only AI has advantages and disadvantages, revise it. Tell me what you actually believe. Second, does each body paragraph have one main idea? Avoid repeating the same point 3 times. For example, don't make all 3 paragraphs say AI makes students lazy. Instead, separate your ideas. Maybe effort, voice, and responsibility. 3 things that I mentioned within this talk here, just as examples, guys, to get you thinking once again. You can go ahead and use those ideas, though, just to be clear. I want you to do the writing, but where you get your ideas is not really important to me. Third, does each body paragraph connect to at least one of the sources? You need to show how the 3 articles support your argument. Ideally, your outline should show where the articles agree, where they differ, and how they help you answer the essay question. That's one way to think about the sources, helping you understand the essay question. The main thing to remember is this, guys. Your outline is not a full essay, but it still should show your thinking about the essay question. A weak outline is just a list of article summaries. A strong outline shows an argument. It says, here's my thesis, here are my main reasons, here's the evidence I'll use, and here's how each paragraph proves my point. So as you work today or up to next week, don't start by asking, what does each article say? Start by asking, what do I want to argue about AI and writing? Then use the sources to build the argument carefully. Okay? Your goal is to produce an outline, everybody, that makes your future essay easier to write. If your outline is clear, logical, and specific, then drafting the essay becomes much less difficult because your argument is already organized. Okay? So, thank you very much, everybody. Please watch this video as many times as you like to help you on your way, and email me if you have any questions. Thank you.